Good evening.
Now you're adrift in a sea of lies, a foolish villain in an endless chapter. The demons riding behind your eyes, a simple shadow we can fight together. I'll never walk.
Continuing Halloween month for some of my favourite horror movies, and for today's review we're going to be looking at a low budget horror movie from the rise of the Saw franchise, comes The Collector. I'm going to be talking about the characters, the genre, the story, anything else I think is important to mention talking about this movie. So let's talk about The Collector. So Storm for the Collector follows our main character named Arkin, who is a burglar who wants to steal a ruby from this wealthy guy's mansion during the family's on holiday. He plans it out, and one night he decides to put this action into test, but soon realises that something is not quite right when a serial killer known as the Collector is holding the family hostage and putting them through a series of deadly traps and mazes around the house, and he has to make a choice whether to kind of save them or save himself. And that's kind of the basic kind of plot point of the movie without giving any major spoilers. Now, what did I think of the storyline? When I first watched it, I have to be completely honest, I didn't like it. I thought it was a complete obvious rip-off from Saw. You know, it had a very Saw similar-esque vibe. You know, the traps and the kind of the close-ups and certain angles and the framing of it. It just felt like a really bad cop-out. You know, something that never made the actual Saw franchise. Kind of lower down version myself. That's when I first thought when I first watched this movie, because I'm a big Saw fan, and I was at the time currently watching those movies. But when I watched it the second time around, I actually kept an open mind, and I think, okay, let's see it from a different point of view. And I actually really enjoyed it second time around. I liked. I missed certain aspects of the film, like the Collector's character himself. I actually really appreciated his character, and I really like what they did with him in that entire movie. You know, they didn't give away a huge lot of who his character was, you know, who his background is, or, you know, they just kept him as a mysterious kind of figure with that kind of creepy mask on, and, you know, the way he kind of moves as a cat, and they've got that beaming eyes and all that type of stuff. I like his choice of weapons and stuff, and, you know, his kind of quick flexing knife kind of thing. It's really interesting, really engaging. The traps are kind of, you know, obvious Saw-esque because they're the writers from Saw, but they actually are quite interesting, and they're more believable, I think, and personally honest, taking Saw for instance. They're just traps that he's kind of, you know, devised over the entire house lockdown, that he's done quickly, you know, holding his family hostage, and it's quite interesting, you know, because he wants to test, you know, the family, he wants to put them through hell, and because he's being a collector, he wants the best, you know, out of this. You know, he's collected bugs and spiders, and you can kind of get that kind of feel for it throughout the movie for certain kind of scenes. But he wants to collect certain individuals, certain people. He wants the best. He wants the survivors. And you know, he's put these series of traps throughout the entire house, and he's put like things that you shouldn't go for, you know, around it. And he's put testing the family because Arkin, our main character, a burglar, you know, he happens to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. He has to really carefully try and sneak his way around, get out of the house, without being known, because if this guy knows he's there, then ooh, he's in trouble kind of thing. And I really like Arkin's character because he's actually, I would say an anti-hero in a sense, because he's just an ordinary guy. He's a guy that owes a lot of money to a kind of, I think, a loan shark or something, and his family's a bit in trouble, and he's just an honest guy that wants to try and make a decent living, and he tries to pay off his debts. And he's put a lot of moral choices throughout the entire movie, and some you can question, some you can go fair play to him because you don't know. And you know, some of the deleted scenes within the Blu-Ray and the DVD kind of take the piss out of that in the sense of certain situations, which if you watch the movie you would automatically know, which is actually quite funny, especially the alternative ending, which is actually just a giant laugh out, kind of a cop-out thing, which is actually really good. But the storyline, I felt, it's definitely better second time round. If you've watched it first time, didn't like it, definitely recommend you watch it second time. I felt it was a nice, neat, low budget kind of horror movie. It was a nice, simple kind of concept of a storyline. It's not over dramatic, it's not overdone like Saw. You know, Saw. You know, there's 7 movies. There's a lot of flashbacks. There's a lot of unanswered questions within each movie. There's always a twist ending or something along those lines, or kind of a cliffhanger. This movie I felt kind of nice narrative structure. It does have some really good twist endings also, but it doesn't leave us kind of, well, it does leave us hanging in a sense, but you know, it's not enough like, oh, you didn't answer many of my questions, or you've answered some of my questions but left me completely open to new questions, in a sense. That kind of idea of the movie. But the storyline, I think it was really, really good, considering you know, the budget, considering how it was done. I appreciate the realistic, you know, prosthetic effects and stuff. You know, there was, if you watch the movie, there is very little CGI in this time movie. The only CGI you will probably see in this movie is probably certain close-up of the spiders and stuff. Everything else is done through practical effects. And there's a couple of scenes in the movie which you would not guess was practical effects. It's seriously. Listening to the audio commentary on the Blu-ray, you will find out a lot of cool stuff about the movie in terms of the soundtrack, the acting, piecing the movie together, editing and all that type of stuff, and certain scenes which are just like, whoa, I didn't realise that, you know, kind of thing. It's really, really well done. I like the editing of the entire movie. I like the piecing and the montage of it. One thing I want to mention is the opening of the movie. You kind of get an established type of, you know, the collector's going to this kind of person first. Then you get this really cool montage scene, you know, the opening of the collector introducing his character. And I really love the soundtrack, the kind of BC soundtrack, the kind of rock Varfan soundtrack. And you just see the collector kind of, you know, having photos and all type of stuff. And he's, you know, doing this kind of weird kind of Photoshop lighting type stuff. It's like probably like, you know, it's like a music video in a sense. You know, it's done in that type of way. But it's really good, and I really, really like it. In the audio commentary, it says that entire sequence was done way before the movie was even shot, and that is really, really cool. I really like that. So awesome montage sequence there for sure. The director is from the Saw 4, 5, and 7. He did the writing work. Well, he wrote the script for those movies, and this is his first kind of directing work for the actual first one. His own kind of feature-length film. I think it's for Lionsgate also. I think so. Anyway, and I felt he did a really good job considering audio commentary and some of the extras I watched. He was really passionate about doing this movie. He really wanted to make a really good movie for what he had, and he had a lot of you know, friends and family members helping him throughout this entire movie, considering the budget. I think he did a really good job considering, you know, the budget, considering, you know, first-time direction work and all that type of stuff. He had a lot of help, and I think working on other projects, you know, like the Saw movies and other films he's done, really helped him, give him a little bit more of extra boost. I really appreciate it, I really like that. So the storyline I found was, you know, really good considering the budget. I think it's even better watching it second time round. I liked, you know, the direction work, I like the prosthetic work, I like the lighting and the editing. I think it's really interesting, really well pieced together. I'm really happy there was very little special effects, to be honest, and really like CGI and that type of stuff, because most ones you get a lot of it and you can obviously tell that it is kind of thing. It's realistic kind of traps, realistic type of situations which you can put these characters through. So good stuff, I really appreciate that. So the characters of the movie, we have our main character called Arkin, who is of course the burglar of the movie. Like I said, his character is quite relatable. You can say he's an honest man who just wants to kind of, you know, get his family out of trouble, and he's in a kind of a time delay. He has to get this kind of ruby before midnight. I don't want to ruin too much of the movie for spoilers, just in case you haven't watched it. But his character, I'm rooting for the entire movie. I really like his acting performance. I really like these moral decisions that he's put through, and some of it go like, oh, fair play to the guy kind of thing. And he's a nice guy. He's not a douche or anything. You actually support him. There's a lot of decisions that he does in the movie, which is like, fair play to the guy, fair play. And there's a lot of great scenes with him and the collector, and there's a lot of great scenes with him and the family kind of interacting, because he's kind of like, he's going to get this ruby out of this vault, and you know, he gets like interrupted by the family kind of thing, you know, as they're being tortured or something, which is really interesting. Really good stuff. So acting performance by him is really good. I think the actor's name is Josh Stewart, who is also in The Dark Knight Rises. He's kind of like the kind of sidekick from Bane, so you might recognise him. He's been in a couple other projects since then, so he's doing quite well for himself since the movie kind of thing. So good stuff. The main collector guy himself, you know, the actual main baddie of the movie, we don't know who he is throughout the entire movie. His you know, identity is kind of, you know, it's a giant mystery, it's a giant question mark.
Well, bring out the gimp.
We just know that he's a serial killer that likes to collect certain individuals, which I find is very, very original. You know, most horror movies these days, and most kind of you know, horror franchises, just tell the entire backstory of a serial killer. Now, usually I like that. I like to know more. I like to know more about the character. It gives me a bit more three-dimensional. But I think it's a refreshing page just to have a character, a mean character, a baddie serial killer that is just doing it. Of course, because he wants to collect people, he wants to collect survivors. That concept right there, is golden. We don't see his face throughout the entire movie. We just see his movement, the way he acts, the way he kind of looks at certain situations, and you get to know a lot about him, about his identity and who he is, just from certain scenes and how he kind of picks himself and how he kind of observes a scene. It's really fantastic, and you can tell that this guy has been doing it more than once. He's been doing it for a very long time. The way he set up everything around the house and that type of stuff, and he's even got a dog, and he's not. And to be honest, he's not like a type of serial killer that has to have things in a perfect line. If you fail, if it's a person that goes out of line, he will take a shotgun and he will blow you out. Kingdom Come kind of thing, or stab you repeatedly. So yeah, I think the gore and the violence is well done also. So it's 18th difficult for a good reason. There is some pretty nasty type of deaths in it, but I think it's realistic deaths. I don't think it's kind of silly laughable deaths like Saw and some of the Saw movies are. But I think holy shit, that could actually happen. Or holy shit, that's pretty extreme. Some of the deaths in the movie. The non-violent deaths, the non-gory deaths, I think are the worst, perfectly honest. I can't mention them because of spoiler reasons, but people that have watched it, you understand what I mean precisely. So, yeah, some pretty interesting death scenes for this movie for sure. Speaking from the horror genre point of view, I think this is a very fresh idea. I wouldn't say it's completely original. I felt it's been done before in some other movies, obviously like the Saws and definitely other type of projects been out there. But I think for what it's taken, it's done something very original. What the previous other movies have done with it, and it's done something very creative, something very visually interesting. It's got a very clear villain, which you kind of like. This villain I don't like, but you're interesting. I like you. I love the kind of the actual look of him, the mask, everything. I like our main character arc in. He's a bit of an anti-hero. You don't know what to trust him or what he's going to do. I like that. I don't want a straight up good guy. I want a bit of an interesting character that's willing to do situations, and a realistic character, to be perfectly honest, because some situations he can't do anything and he has to think of himself in some of the movies, in some of the situations within the movie. So I really like that, I really appreciate that. I think the ending is really, really good, and I think it's really shocking, and it's like holy crap kind of thing, and it just leaves it open for a great sequel, which is currently going to be out, I think November of next month. In the UK, I think on the 26th, called The Collection, which I'm really looking forward to. It's a bit of an action horror movie type-esque, so I'm really looking forward to the sequel.
Summary of The Collector, a stamp of approval.
So I do have the Blu-ray, of course, of The Collector. This is a really great pickup. I bought this for £4 on Amazon a little while back. I did it in kind of my DVD / Blu-ray update video and talked about it briefly for a sec there. This is a really great pickup. The Blu-ray for this is really, really good, I think. I think it's definitely much more sharper. It's definitely much more kind of clearer in some of the dark scenes. This movie generally is quite dark, because it's set at night time, of course, we're in the mansion and all that type of stuff. But I like the lighting, and it works more, I think, some of that 1080p effect. For this movie, really appreciate it, really works really well. But I don't think it's probably the best Blu-ray transfer ever. I've seen the DVD quality and it's just as good, really, to be honest. But there's a couple of clearer images, a couple of clearer things going on with the movie, which you can kind of say, yeah, that looks pretty good. But I wouldn't say there's massive difference. If you do have the DVD already, I would only pick this up if you see it at a really cheap price, like £4 or £3 or something along those lines. But don't rush your way out and go and buy it for the sake of it, kind of thing. If you don't have this movie, I definitely recommend a Blu-ray purchase. It is definitely worth it for sure. You get some really good extra features also, which I'm going to show you in the back there. There you go. You get an audio commentary, which I've already said is really good. I would recommend, if you've got the DVD or Blu-ray, definitely listen to that. It's really interesting. There's a couple of things in that movie which you definitely won't expect, or things that you found out about the movie, which are generally quite interesting, about the soundtrack also. You also get an alternative ending, which actually is quite funny. I've mentioned that. I think everyone probably seen it by now. You also get deleted scenes, which generally is quite interesting also, some good interesting things. You get a music video, which is quite cool, and that's about it. You know, standard kind of extras, nothing amazing kind of thing, but some pretty good extras for a pretty good low budget movie. Definitely recommend this on Blu-ray, definitely recommend this on a DVD purchase. If you're not convinced by the movie completely, I would definitely recommend a rental. It's definitely worth it, or you know, wait for it to be on Sky Movies, or hell, well, you can watch it online, you know, whatever you want kind of thing. It's definitely worth picking up for sure, definitely worth owning in your collection. The Collector. So that's been the Collector review. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Have you seen the Collector? Are you looking forward to the collection? Comment down below, I'd love to know. I'd love to have a discussion about it. So in the meantime, thank you for me to be.